You know, Spider-Man is definitely our most ambitious game ever, and it's the first real statement of our sort of reformed Marvel Games team.
It's right around, yeah, the game is coming out very soon. I think it's like 50 days or so till it comes out, and it's...
Mere weeks.
Mere weeks. Bill, please don't repeat that. But we're super excited for people to play it on September 7th. I mean, I can't wait for them to play it.
I was so excited knowing that we were going to see the opening cinematic in Peter's apartment. I couldn't wait for people to see that. And the amount of storytelling they were able to do so quickly, everything from seeing the empty food cartons to see the plant that he doesn't have time to water because he's saving the world.
Well, I mean, I think it represents our philosophy for the entire game. It's just not a Spider-Man story. It's a Peter Parker story. And at the start, it's always about Peter. I mean, that's, you know, who he is because of, you know, being raised by his uncle and his aunt. What happens to him with his uncle? I mean, it's Peter. It's really important, and we had to represent that human side of him as much as we do the superhero. I got to give you a little insider baseball. Was that like we actually at one point had the actor laying like Marty does when he's kind of had his arm like kind of, but just it didn't really work well. But like Back to the Future was totally the inspiration from our animation director Bobby Coddington.
That's awesome.
That's totally. Oh my God! You just made my day. Thank you.
Cool.
You made my Comic-Con. Thank you. Bobby's gonna be so excited.
And at the very end, I love the moment where he looks, he sees the rent notice. Rent is overdue. Here's this bill, and he walks up to it and he thinks, "Do I take a moment to pay this bill?" But he knows he's being torn, and that's the whole. It sets the tone of the whole adventure, the whole story about Peter being torn in two different directions. He's being torn as things are colliding. His personal life and his life as a superhero colliding together, and he has to make these choices. What does he do? Does he do this thing for himself? No, he does the selfless things, jumps out the window.
I mean, obviously we have a great development team at Insomniac, but you know, obviously we also, a big part of this job is finding the right people to cast in all these roles. I mean, it took a long time to find Yuri as Spider-Man. Actually, at first he worked with us on Sunset, and I was like, you know, let's just maybe try someone different. And we brought people in, and at one point I was like, all right, just bring Yuri in, let's see what happens. And he did a really good job, and then it became a very obvious choice. And then, you know, whether it was Steven or Nicole, other people we've hired, it was just finding people that we can work with really well and just like have really open, frank conversations about the character, or like, hey, we're not getting it. Or even more is like letting them bring stuff to the role. Like they have ideas, like Yuri ad-libs a lot, you know, just letting them have fun with, I mean, we're all Marvel fans, we're all superhero fans, so like, let them embrace the character and try different things. So it's some of my favorite days working on this game have been being on set with those guys, because we just bring, it's like playtime, and we get to be Spider-Man and Mr. Negative and Silver Sable and MJ and Miles and all these different characters. I mean, it's a huge cast, and we owe a lot to them, because they made whatever we did from a writing, a scripting standpoint to even be better.
There are certain elements that are in the Marvel universe that make it Marvel. You look around the city and it's Marvel's New York. You've seen, there's the Sanctum Sanctorum, there's the Avengers Tower.
Wakanda Embassy.
What's that?
Wakanda Embassy.
There's a Wakanda Embassy. Now we can say there's the Simkarian Embassy as well.
Yes.
So with all of our games, there will be elements that identify it as, this is not just New York, this is Marvel's New York. This is Marvel. You know, we wanted to mix things up. We wanted to present familiar faces in new situations. So the idea quickly became, what can Mary Jane's, what's her story?
Yeah.
What's her arc? And then what could her job be in the story that would then lead to these situations?
Yeah.
So the idea was floated, hey, can we make Mary Jane a reporter for the Daily Bugle?
Yeah.
And we got so excited, we're like, wow, that's never been done before.
Yeah.
But it feels good.
Yeah.
It feels like a Spider-Man element.
And the other thing I think is, you know, obviously you play as Peter, you play as Spider-Man. It's a superhero experience, right? But like, what's it like to be a human in a superhuman world? Like, what is it like to be in the middle of all this craziness when you don't have superpowers? Just adds a different perspective to the overall experience we thought would be interesting. And some of those moments are really, really good.
And then you saw in the story trailer, because she is a reporter for the Daily Bugle, she's snooping around, she's trying to get the dirt, she puts herself in dangerous situations because that's her career, that's what she wants to do. And you saw the scene where she's snooping around and Sable and Norman are behind her, and then she jumps off the building.
Yep.
What happens next, Brian?
You have to play a game on September 7th.
Okay.